Well, I'd like to thank Absence, the editorial board, for selecting my poem as the best literary art. I'd like to thank Dr. Manlove for encouraging me to submit my poem. I'd like to thank all my professors who are in the audience tonight, Dr. Charles, Dr. Manlove, Dr. Mickle, anyone else who I haven't seen. I'd like to thank all the faculty, staff, and students at Greater Allegheny, students, especially Zach Pollock and Caleb Shively right over there, for making my experience so memorable. And I'd like to thank my parents, Bill and Diane Walker, right there in the fourth row. This poem is painfully long, so I'm going to get into it. But first, I'd like to give a little bit of background because there is a layer of complexity to it, at least some analysts say. So, due to my fascination with Native American culture, I based my piece on a native who must complete a task for the good of his people. His tribe is situated at the top of a valley and the bottom of Fire Mountain, where the fire being covets the sunlight, making it impossible for the tribe's people to grow crops. When the boy comes of age, his father, the chief, sends him into the desolate valley for 100 days until he is strong enough to climb the mountain and defeat the fire spirit and take the sunlight back. In the spirit of many Native American fables, it explains why something happens in nature, in this case, why the sun flies from east to west. Initially something I did for amusement, this tale has become an epic that entertains concepts of conflict, perseverance, and fulfilling a duty or your destiny for a cause that is greater than yourself. So without further ado, this is my piece, Mighty Heap Strong. I am a man of gusto and fame. They say the merchant of Venice knows my name, but it doesn't really matter what they all say, for the words that I say will show you the way. I've spoken with neighbor men, wisest and old, and heard all the greatest stories been told of fire and iron, water and mulch, and a tribe at the crown of the mightiest gulch, who got little sunlight to treat the crops, where hope and good tidings had come to a stop, for the great fire being atop of the mount coveted sunlight in copious amounts. And at foot of the mountain, the tribe, could we see, housed the littlest Indian brave there could be. The people all loved him, and he felt likewise, but his destiny pointed him up toward the skies. The day did arrive when Heap Tiny was of age, and his father, Heap Plaid, let him out of his cage. With feathers and treasures atop of his head, he looked at his son, and this is what he said. I am the chief of the Indian tribe. I can see the trees. I am in the sky. Down in the gulch, go if you wouldn't mind. Heap good plant, with wampum you will find. For 100 days to the gulch he stayed true, though the frostbite made his extremities blue. Each day he returned with a big wampum satchel, while the fire being preached of the blaze in his chapel. Each day he pulled wampum. Each day he got stronger. Each day became shorter. Each night became longer. As winter came tumbling like a deep frozen fountain, the being was stirring atop Fire Mountain. Heap Plaid saw the work and expressed such elation. They prepared for the ritual with much celebration, bonfires, dances, a great feast indeed. The village gave Tiny, now strong, what he'd need. Pelt of a grizzly, sword of a bone, to knock down the being from his fiery throne. Healing elixirs, good bread and fresh dew, for Heap Strong and the being would exchange many coup. On the new moon's first morning, Heap Strong would depart, and there the true challenge was ready to start, where brimstone and lava and creatures untold, concern over Heap Strong began to take mold. Fire being sat, sipping cinnamon whiskey, while sirens of fire stroked his beard, oh so grisly. He heard footsteps approach and a knock at the door, and his satchel of sunlight fell down to the floor. No worse could it be, seeing Heap Strong so wily, the chosen one whom nature had spoke of so highly. He boomed, I'm the brave whom shalt seizeth thine throne, for my village I fight for, my village alone. The being erupted and quivered did his wives, as a column of fire came forth from his eyes. He said, I own the sunlight, 'tis my coveted power, and I shan't take intruders so light in my tower. As Arapaho, Pawnee, and the natives all do, we shall have us a game, and exchange us some coup. If contact is made, a point you shall score. If you're quick enough to counter, I grant you one more. But if contact is made and injury ensues, no longer shall we simply be exchanging coup. We shall engage in battle in spirit of time, and should you win, then my satchel no longer is mine. Heap strong did accept, and he brandished his sword, prepared to wage war with the mightiest horde. The being stood tall with the roar of a bear, as tinder and kindling came a fire in his hair. Heap strong attacked first with a big wrestling tackle, and the being chained fast with a jiu-jitsu grapple. They scrambled round the floor in a fizzling fury as they tumbled and rumbled in a scuffling scurry. Weapons were drawn and blades then were crossed, with sign of the demon on the beings embossed. In tornado of battle, the fire being slipped, and Heap's leg by the fire blade was brutally clipped. He bellowed, "O being, your rules you have broken, and the fire of battle in me has been stoken. I'll take your power from you for the good of my people, and topple you down in your crackling steeple." He puffed out his chest and attacked with a double, which put the being down on his hind in deep trouble. He struggled and bridged to get off of his back, but the fire in his belly went smoldering black. He turned him and turked him and earned his back points. With martial arts prowess did the being he anoint. He tethered the fool to the satchel of light and threw him to the wintry sky of the night. Heap came from the mountain, a sweat on his brow, to greet a most joyous and gracious crowd. The craftsmen bore treasures, and the elders their daughters, to honor the warrior in the wake of his slaughter. At long last, the ever-present winter had ended, and the village's famine would soon be amended. Heap Plaid gave his crown to his first conceived son, as he saw within him the chosen, the one. The village did prosper in moons passing by, and Heap Tiny, now strong, saw his work in the sky. And on ground as the people did till and did sow, till the spoils spilt over to the valley below. To this day the great being, the sky on his back, the sun on his back, flies eastern to western, a never-ending track. The power of sunlight we rejoice summer long, give thanks to the memory of mighty Heap Strong.